In order to live a consistent sober lifestyle, you actually have to know your triggers and how you operate, right? Because if you don't know your triggers, if you don't know how you fully operate, it's going to be a lot harder for you to actually build a sober strategy plan, right? Now, don't get me wrong, as you go through this journey, you are learning more about yourself, you're learning more about your triggers and the things that trip you up, right? But ultimately, you know the ultimate trigger or the ultimate, thing that may happen that is going to hinder you from actually living a consistent sober lifestyle. Okay, so when you figure out what that trigger is, when you figure out what that thing is or what that thought is, you then need to make a plan and a boundary around that, right? So for example, if you recognize and realize that every Friday around 5 o'clock, your brain is saying, hey, let's go out for a drink, right? Because that was your pattern for so long, for so many years, right? And you notice that you kind of get that anxiety and excitement at the same time where you literally just want to go drink. You need to make a plan around that, right? So what can that look like as an example? So if you know at 5 o'clock every Friday you are going to feel that way or you've been feeling that way, I want you to maybe plan out a nice, yummy mocktail recipe that you can make at that time. Okay, or maybe it's going and getting yourself a matcha or a coffee, right? Obviously, having caffeine at the end of the day is probably not the best idea, but you get what I'm saying, like having something yummy that is going to give you that good feeling and that is going to uplift your spirits. Obviously, us as women, like we just like something yummy in our cup, and guess what? That yumminess does not have to be alcohol, okay? And then I want you to set a boundary for yourself, okay? So if you know that maybe your girls, they tend to text you on Fridays, you already have something to say to them because you're not going to go out and drink. You're not even going to go to the bar because that is just putting yourself in a position to compromise your sobriety. Okay, so you're going to make a plan for yourself. You're going to have your nice, yummy drink, which I already drink, and then maybe you're going to go draw yourself a bath, and maybe you're going to light a candle. You're going to listen to a podcast or watch, one of your favorite movies, and that is going to be your night, right? So you're going to have a plan for Friday nights. Now, if you do it the other way, where it's like that you're having that trigger, that you're having that emotion every single Friday. And if you are just thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to not drink on Friday, I'm just going to pray through it, I'm going to pray that the Lord will give me strength and so forth, that will only get you through so far. This is one thing that I teach my clients, is to always have a plan, always have a pressure plan, always have some tools and some resources in your, tool belt, if you will, so that you don't even have an opportunity to relapse. You don't have an opportunity to compromise your sobriety. Now, if you just straight up decide that that's just what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do, right? It wouldn't be the lack of tools that is the reason. It's just that you're deciding that you want to go drink, right? But this is me helping you have a plan for that trigger, for that emotion that comes up. And then as you continue to go along this journey, just keep note of your patterns, keep note of your triggers, keep note of just, different things that kind of, trip you up a little bit. And that's going to help you also do the deeper work. And the Lord is going to continue to minister to your heart so you can heal. And so that this then becomes your default way of living. That is my goal for my clients, is to have living a sober lifestyle, living a sober mind, their default way of living, where it's not even a thing that they think about because they are so focused on Jesus and so focused on the purpose that the Lord has for them. So if you want to do more work like this, go to the top of my profile, start with my free 7-day reset, and then we can go from there.